How's it going? Wooden Spoon SuperCoach here. First week of the prize pool. We've already gone up $10 at this rate. We're easily going to crack $1,000, so keep it up. We'll go over to the top punters tab. So we've got FPL for life. He got both his bets. I believe it was the Cowboys and the Dragons. So he turned, I can't even remember what the stake was. I had to divide it like 6 ways, so it wasn't much. But he made $6. Metamorphosis is back. He was a common commenter last year, so good to see you back, Metamorphosis. And then we got Chimpy, new guy on the block. They got the same bet correct. I've put Metamorphosis at 2 just because he's an OG. I can't imagine the cents are going to add up exactly the same. So,
yeah. Is that SLM in the comments section? He was like betting with me all year last year.
Yeah, I think he definitely left a comment on one of the videos. I don't think he got a bet in, but I'm sure he'll find his way in.
Get your bets in.
Yeah. And shout out to the OGs that come back. It's cool to see some familiar faces, but if you're new as well, get in there. Because if you don't know, whoever contributes the most money on this list here at the end of the season will get paid out the amount in number 1, and it doesn't come out of the prize pool. So yeah, cheeky $10 in week 1 of the trials. What a start. Love to see it.
Awesome.
Before we get into the trials results, I need to mention in the group league, as for any group league out there, you have 1 entry. If there's multiple teams in there, then you're not eligible for any prizes. And that goes for normal SuperCoach prizes as well. Imagine if you had a couple of teams, one of them gets team of the week, and SuperCoach goes, oh, sorry, you don't get the $1,000 because you have multiple teams. It's just not worth it. And particularly Alan, I'm looking at you with your fucking 13 teams in there. So hopefully you're watching this because you've got a week to leave 1 in there, or I'm just going to go scorched earth and get rid of all of them. No loopholes. Yep. I'm not taking any chances. And at the end of the year, we can check with SuperCoach if a person has multiple teams. So don't try and find a way around it. Just play by the rules. It's not that hard.
Let's go.
Cool. With that out of the way, let's get into last week's trial results. We'll then go into this week's teams list, which are arguably a lot more important. And after that, we'll quickly go over the stats change and rule change with the NRL and SuperCoach. A lot of people have been freaking out about it. I don't think it's that significant. Definitely some key takeaways, but we'll get to that. I'll definitely leave some timestamps so you can skip around the video and see what you want to see. Don't forget to join the group league. Code is just there. It's 899247. Get in there. Currently $760 up for grabs, split between the top 3. I'll pop the rules up just for a second and you can pause it and read it. I can't be bothered to read it out every single time. There's the rules. Pause the video if you want to read them. Cool. Let's go over to the results. So first up, Cowboys defeated the Bulldogs. Cowboys had a pretty dominant start. It was a few more first graders going up against pretty much a fully reserve grade team, so that was to be expected. And then once the younger guys came on for the Cowboys, they managed to pull it back. But the Cowboys got it done.
All right, so yeah, Bulldogs, Cowboys. I did tip the Cowboys in this one, but it was pretty obvious with the lineup strength. The difference was, you could tell the Cowboys were going to come out on top. And then, as you said, Jake, as the game went on and they pulled off all their guns, the Bulldogs did bring it back. I was a bit scared for a minute there for the tips, that's for sure. But look, my key takeaways from this one was Purdue and Clifford appeared to be battling it out for that second spot in the halves with Tommy Dearden. And I think Clifford was the clear winner. Purdue played well, but Clifford was actually really good. He was a standout for me for the weekend. So yeah, that's probably the main takeaway for me for this one. Didn't really get too much of a look at the Bulldogs. And then Helam Lukey as well scored like a relatively easy try, which is what you would expect to see from somebody as strong as him. And yeah, it's good to see him back in form and hopefully he can string some games together. I did have a look at him as far as SuperCoach is concerned. He's about 400,000, so a little bit awkwardly priced. If your gut's telling you that he is going to skyrocket and you think he's in for a big year, then I can get behind it. But he's just a little bit too awkwardly priced for me to start the season. I'll be having a look at him within the first few weeks, but
it is tricky to go with Helam Lukey when we've been burnt by him for the last couple of years, but the potential is definitely there. With Clifford, he had an absolutely elite game. If I was the coach, I'd 100% stick him in somewhere. Also with Lukey, Nanai is out for 10 weeks. So Lukey's security is shored up in terms of minutes, as long as he's fit enough to do so. He scored 50 SuperCoach points according to the Fox stats with a try and a line break. However, the minutes aren't really too good to go off there. Still cool though to see 50 points in the short amount of time he did play. Only other thing I really have to mention for the Cowboys is Derby had a really good game of finishing. He scored some really nice tries. If Purdue does end up in the halves, there's a center wing spot that opens up for him potentially. I'm not sure off the top of my head who else would be gunning for that spot, but Derby is a very talented player. He did have a bit of a shocker last year. He said himself he wasn't very happy with it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the Cowboys.
Yeah, Derby's definitely one to watch.
Yeah, for sure. For the Dogs, really not a whole lot to cover. It was basically a reserve grade team. Did you have any standouts from them?
Eamon Fitzgibbon. It's great to see third generation Fitzgibbon. That was cool. He's probably not going to be super coach relevant. I just thought it was nice. And to see him kick goals and a big smile on his face, that was great.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. And they cut to his dad in the crowd. He's just completely stone faced.
Yeah.
Thought that was funny. The only note I have here is that Gordon Chankamtong only played 25 minutes, which is a good sign for Hayward. However much we can read into that, I'm not entirely sure because they're probably just rotating through these players anyway.
Yeah,
I
he
think,
didn't really stand out to me as doing that much, to be honest. He really just distributed the ball, and I didn't think that he was getting the ball off the ground into the halves as quick as you would want from
yeah,
somebody who's purely distributing. So even if he ends up getting a spot in the starting 17, like as number 14 or something like that, I don't think I'd go there personally. Much rather an Owen Paddy or something.
yeah, for sure. I was upset when he left Manly, not because of the ability, just because he's such a good bloke. And he's always like geeing up the boys, getting everyone laughing. So he's kind of like a Jakey Trebojevic, having that kind of guy at the club. Just good vibes. We'll move on to the Dragons and the Knights. Beautiful Dragons and Knights. Dragons get it done. I didn't actually watch this one too closely. I just saw the KO mini, but I've had a look at the stats, so I've got a reasonable idea of how this went. Who were your standouts for the Dragons?
Dragons, like I wasn't really that impressed by anybody in the Dragons, to be honest. It was a solid performance, and to the fact that they won against the Knights that actually put out a stronger side on paper is really good signs for the Dragons this year. I had them pegged to be sort of bottom of the ladder somewhere, but look, maybe their system is better than we thought, and Setu two does look good. It looks like he's probably earned himself that spot on the wing there. So Setu two was a good watch. Cade Reed though was unbelievable. He was the best player in the entire weekend. You should actually just go back and watch his highlights from that game. Cade Reed was, yeah, he was awesome. And I think I heard a sneaky commenter on Levels like a couple of weeks ago plug Cade Reed as the next 7 at the Dragons. And he was spot on the money because that kid is a footballer. Really, really nice try. Really nice run down in defense. Ran down Sandon Smith and got on his nerves as well. Oh, man, it was great. So Cade Reed's awesome. It probably won't be relevant for Supercoach this year unless they have an injury in the halves or something like that. But yeah, he was great. Setu 2 was good. Josh Kerr was good. Fangai in the centers was good as well. Like they were solid. The Knights, I thought, were really erratic, to be honest. Sandon Smith looked like he was in control of the team, and he did do a good job. I've heard a lot of people saying he did a great job. I personally thought he played okay. His kicking, his goal kicking especially, was terrible. He missed all of his kicks. Like, they didn't even look close. He didn't look confident. I wasn't really sure that he had a great game. I think that if you asked Sandon Smith after the game how he went, I think he would tell you that he played terribly, but he did a really decent job still. I think there's a lot of room to improve there, but I do think that he has secured himself that position as the 7 for the Knights. And then Fletcher Sharp, he was electric. He obviously wanted to make something happen every play, but he just couldn't find the space to make anything happen. So we'll have to see what they look like when they've got their starting forwards on. Trey Mooney, he was a weapon. Definitely looking forward to seeing how many minutes he can put on the field as the season kicks on. But yeah, Trey Mooney looked like a beast. So definitely stoked to have him in my super coach team. Thomas
100%.
Cant as well. Thomas Cant was so good. He got an awesome try. It, again, looked a little bit too easy up against some of the reserve grade Dragons or something. But it was pure effort. And then his goal kicking was phenomenal. Back rower kicking goals. He did so much better than Sandon Smith. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets him over the line and gets him into that starting second row position over Jermaine McEwen to start off the season, especially with McEwen under a bit of an injury cloud. Thomas Kent's goal kicking. If he's in the side, I would have him kicking goals over just about anyone. Ponga's got the foot problem. Sandon Smith couldn't hit him straight if he was getting paid to do it. So yeah, I don't know. Thomas Kent, he looked great.
I never actually made that connection that he could be the goal kicker because they were testing out Sandon because obviously Ponga wasn't on the field, but it sounds like they want to kind of take the pressure off him for that bit so he can focus on his game. Sandon, I can't really remember how his kicking was last year. I think it was a bit better, but
It was all right. Yeah, I didn't expect him to miss all 4. One of them was a sitter as well. I
yeah.
don't know, man. It was
But
not good.
if we can get a goal kicking second row forward GP, that is an absolute diamond in Supercoach terms. They don't come along very often.
Not sure he's a cheap. You have to check his price because he did have some good games last year, and he was pretty relevant for a while there. He might be at that sort of awkward mid price as
Like
well.
300 or 400k or something.
Yeah, but 377. So
Yeah,
it's
that's a
cheaper
bit
than
much.
Lukey. And if he kicks goals, like seriously, I'd be considering he's cheaper than McEwen. Honestly, right now, I'm thinking about subbing McEwen out of my team to put Thomas Cant in, especially
Yeah,
if he gets
right.
that starting spot in week 1.
That's
And
going to
if
be
he's
very
kicking
interesting.
goals and starting on the edge, he looks strong and he looks determined to have a good year. So Thomas Cant was my guy to watch from the Knights, and I personally think that Fletcher Sharp should go back to the wing for this season, and not mess with the spine too much. Sanders Smith wants to play 7. He did fine. Give him some more reps there. Phoenix Crossland wants to play 9. Put him there. Dylan Brown at 6 makes sense. KP out the back makes sense. Fletcher Sharp, put him on the wing. When KP's off at Origin, put him into fullback. And yeah, look, I think it'll be good. But yeah, Fletcher Sharp, he's electric. He just couldn't make anything really happen. So we'll see how we go.
My only concern with Sharp is, yeah, him on the wing makes sense. But the coach has come out and said that he won't play on the wing. And there was also, I think it was Whisperer saying there was a press release with the Knights where they all seemed to be in their jersey. So Ponga was in 1, Dillbags was in, I believe, 7, 7, and Fletcher Sharp was in 6. If that is how they roll out, I'm worried about Sandon. Does he get pushed out of the halves and go to 9? If so, how many minutes does he get? And does, what's his face? I can't think of the curly hair, the Knights hooker.
Crossland? Phoenix Crossland?
Phoenix Crossland, that's the one.
Yeah, gotcha.
Does Crossland minute share with him? Does he start at hooker and then he comes on? I don't know.
I don't know.
There's too many questions for me. I've actually taken him out of my team.
Yeah. Look, Sandon Smith might make it into my draft team, that's for sure. He does look good, but yeah, look, I think they should play him at 7, but what do I know? I'm not Justin Holbrook, so we'll see what they do. But personally, I thought he proved himself as a 7. Fletcher Sharp, I don't think he did enough to prove that he should be in the halves. Sandon Smith did a great job, and obviously you're not going to take Dylan Brown out of the halves, so yeah.
Yeah, and to add even more questions into the mix, when we get to the Knights teams list this week, it's all jumbled up again. So the only other notes I've got is that I reckon Farley did have a decent game, just not really as, I guess, noticeable at centre as opposed to wing. But I do think Sedu too is kind of winning the spot there. Then we got the Couchman brothers. So Toby Couchman, fairly standard performance, not crazy, not bad, just a good solid forward. Ryan Couchman, on the other hand, I believe he is near enough bottom dollar and he looks to be gunning for a bench spot, which is cool, but that would be a 4th Dragons cheapie. So we've got Daniel Atkinson, Farley, Sedu too, if they both manage to get in, which is a possibility. And then Ryan Couchman as well. Like, I think we're definitely going to have at least 1 or 2 Dragons cheapies in our teams. So
yeah, you can go for 1 or 2. Just don't run 3 or 4.
Yeah. The buy comes along and you are stuffed.
Couchman's good. I want to see a little bit more, but hopefully he gets a few minutes and we can see when he maybe in week 3 or 4 when he's got a low break even, maybe we can get on board a Ryan Couchman or something. And if you're starting with Toby, I get it.
Yeah, I want to. I managed to free up a bit of cash and upgraded him back to Keon, who I started with in my original team picker. So that's what I've done anyway. Next game. Next game. We're on to Trials Week 2 now.
Let's go. TLT, here we go.
Alrighty, Trials Week 2. First up, we've got a clash of the Queenslanders, Dolphins and the Titans.
Yep, I'm keen. I just want to make one point here. I'm a bit salty about the price of the preseason tickets. I would go to every preseason game that was nearby if the price wasn't like full price to go and watch an NRL team that's not even got their full squad out. And like, I just feel like if they should make preseason like half price or something like that. That's just my biggest gripe that I've got so far, because I would go to all these preseason games, but I'm not spending full price on to go watch reserve grade. So
that blows my mind that it is full price. I wasn't aware of that, because I was really keen to go watch Anthony Large and Joey Walsh line up in the halves, but I'm pretty sure I didn't recognize the stadium name, so it's probably a bit of a mission, but might look into it. But Yeah,
I,
that's
that's
weird.
just the ones up in Queensland so far that I've been trying to go to.
Ah,
I don't
okay.
know. Let me know in the comments if you agree, folks. But personally, I think that that's just a raw. Like, how can you charge the same when you literally got like reserve graders and
Yeah.
it's like a empty stadium? Like, why? Like, just get people to come and see your team play and make money from the canteen. Seriously,
You'd think if it was half price, they'd sell more than double the tickets and then
right?
make more money than they would have anyway. So yeah, that's
Exactly.
bizarre.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be half empty, and yeah, it's just a joke.
My first thing I noticed with the Dolphins teams list here is that there is no Trey Fuller named at all, which is an indicator he will not get the slot at fullback. Christian
Oh,
Wolf has apparently said that is the case too. So unfortunately, it's looking like Fuller isn't a cheapy fullback, not cheapy,
yeah.
but a cheaper
Yeah.
fullback option for us, which
Yeah.
sucks, but I do understand it.
Mm. Yeah, it feels like he might be in that sort of 18-19 jersey every week. Like they'll just have him there in case like somebody in the back five goes down. But otherwise he'll probably be playing reserve grade. Yeah.
Yeah, so even worse than him not being picked, he might come on and score you a 7. So big line
Yeah.
through that.
Probably wouldn't pick Fuller. Yeah, I'd be fading Fuller. I got some notes on this one. So I got trialing Cobbo at center. So that looks good. I have a feeling that's planning for when Bostock comes back to the team in week 8 or 9 or something, whenever
Mm.
he comes back. They're probably planning to move Cobbo over to the other side and be the center with Jermaine Asako. So this is probably just a bit of a preview of what that might look like. When they do that, Jake Averillo will probably be the guy that misses out on the back five spot and ends up taking that sort of 18-19 jersey off Trey Fuller. So that's why they're trialing him there as well. Averillo loves to play fullback. So yeah, look, this is sort of signs for the future, I think, here for the Dolphins, and they're just getting a feel for what that might look like. Otherwise, first look at Flegler and Knowles. We just want to see how Knowles lines up in over here in Australia. He was probably the standout player for England, especially in game 3. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how he plays. Not sure if he'll start with the 13. Depends, I think, on whether Max Plath is ready. And Flegler, let's see if he can get some good minutes under his legs and see how he goes and make sure he gets out of the game injury free. So this is a good first look at Flegler and Knowles.
Absolutely. I heard the Knowles name floating around the Supercoach space. So I looked into him, brought over from the UK. So it would be weird for them to get him to move across the world and then give him no minutes. So
Yeah.
got to keep an eye
There's
on
a,
him because he is bottom dollar, I'm pretty sure.
the Dolphins have a stacked pack, man. Like they've got
Yeah.
so much depth in there. Like I don't even know who's going to be starting for them. But yeah, over on the Titans side, first look at Fayamani, that cheapy center
Yes.
that's in most people's teams at the moment. So we get to have a good look at him. So I'm looking forward to that one. Otherwise, look, Jalen DeGroot in the in the fullback position there. He's probably pegged for that sort of 18-19 jersey. Probably not going to get much of a run unless somebody in back five goes down. So they're just sort of making sure that he's fit and ready to go with the system. Otherwise, the thing I've got there, Ilias at 6. This is actually kind of important because AJ Brimson is injured from the Ashes tour. So I'm not sure
Yeah,
exactly when he
right.
comes back, but they could be looking to use Ilias as that 6 replacement. Until AJ's back and ready. And Ilias will be coming to the Titans to try and prove that he's a first grader. He killed it in New
Yeah,
South
yeah.
Wales Cup. So I'm not really sure what they're going to do with him moving forward. Maybe he's just floating around. He's that sort of third string half. And if anybody gets injured, boom, he's in the side. But he'll be looking to stamp his authority in the team. And yeah, look, it's going to be a good look at Ilias in the new system.
That is interesting. I wasn't aware of the AJ injury. So
Yeah, I actually mentioned AJ in the pods video when we were talking about 5'8", and then I realized afterwards that he's actually injured. So that was a bad shout. But yeah, Ilias looks like he's going to be taking that spot, I think, to start the season off, and then we'll see how they go.
yeah, right. Do we know the kind of the length of recovery for Brimo, or is there not?
I don't remember. I don't want to get it wrong. So,
Fair
but
enough.
I
Well,
think it's about I think it could be 6 to 10 weeks or something like that. Like
okay.
first third of the season. Hopefully he's back sort of before Origin. The other one to look at, I think, on the Titans here, Cooper By, shaping up at 13. The word is I don't actually think he's getting the start, whereas Paxton is the one that's getting
Hmm.
the start, who's been really impressing there. So Cooper By definitely want to get him in the squad at some point, and they're obviously interested in him at 13. I think he'll be coming off the bench to start the season, but this is a great look at him, and if he impresses, then maybe he will be able to take that spot back off Paxton or something. So he's one to watch there as well. But I think playing him at 13 is sort of planning for the future. If something goes wrong in the pack and they lose a guy, maybe they can shuffle Cooper By in later in the season. But yeah, it's definitely be good to see him play.
I did find it weird that Paxton wasn't named in this game. But I suppose next week they're going to have more of their full strength kind of team, and maybe he'll feature in that one.
Yep.
The only other note here, Cooper Bye covered, Famani covered. I've just got no Keeney here because Jalen DeGroot is goated.
Yeah, I think they're not risking their guns. So
Yeah,
that's what's happening here. Yeah.
Oh, I reckon DeGroot's just pushed him out, Nah, no chance.
Bro,
DeGroot might end up on the wing.
You're in with Matrix. You're on the. Is it Matrix from the?
Yeah,
from
that's
Inside Tennessee?
literally.
He's all on the Jalen DeGroot train.
Yeah.
I honestly looked at him. I thought this could be a play. I'm pretty sure he has the duel with center wing and fullback. Right. I actually thought it wasn't a bad idea, but the 6-man bench just makes it unviable. He's going to be 18, 19, and he's going to be an AE nightmare if you have him. So
Yeah.
I would definitely be fading Jalen DeGroot.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, moving on to the Raiders versus Storm. So for the Storm, there is basically nothing. Oh, wait, no. I said this before we started recording as well. It's not Storm, it's Penrith where there's nothing to talk about. For the Storm, where are we? Jack Hetherington and Lasardi are the only two Supercoach relevant guys I can see in this list. Whoever gets Katoa's spot for the year is a damn near must-have, so watch that space. Lazarus Valuepu is a name we've also seen floating around in the space. Maybe he could sneak his way into relevancy. Other than that...
From their lineup, I took that Hetherington. It looks like they're trying to play him in the middle rotation, so I would expect him to get a bench role and be coming through the middle rotation. And the thing that scares me about Lasardi here is the omission of Chan in this lineup. Does that mean that Chan is the guy and they're saving him for later? And this is, Lasardi's chance to say, no, I'm the guy. I'm just, look, if Chan was in the side as well, then maybe they're battling it out to see who gets the spot. It's just strange to me that Chan isn't here trying to prove that he's the guy. So maybe they've already made that choice and we're not sure. It's definitely a watch and see. Lasardi, very highly owned.
Yeah.
So if you've got him in your team, I would definitely be looking for that TLT come NRL round 1. Make sure he's starting because, if Chan's starting there, maybe you just want to pivot, or maybe you want to find a different sort of second rower to go for. Lasardi's in my team as well, so I'm right with everyone there. But the omission of Chan in this lineup is the thing that sort of makes me wonder about Lasardi.
Yeah, and he does have the most experience in a Storm jersey, so he's got that working for him. The good thing about Lasardi, though, is if one of these other two guys does get picked, Lasardi's the most expensive, I'm pretty sure, so it's easy downgrade if it does go that way.
And again, Chan could be locked into like a bench spot, so they're just trying to get reps for Lasardi at the moment. That's actually the notes I have on Lasardi, is that they could just be looking for reps. Maybe Chan's going to be playing on that sort of number 17 jersey, and he can come on and play if he needs to, because he can still play in the centers as well. So he's actually a really good cover.
Beautiful. Moving on to the Raiders. I've got here Tamale named at center and Jed Stewart on the wing is interesting. I can't imagine Jed makes it into the side, but it is cool to know that Tamale does have that kind of versatility in him, because I don't think we saw him play any center last year. I think he was a specialist winger.
I think they're probably just trying to make sure he's game fit, because he had some injury concerns last year, and then when he came back in, he didn't really pick up where he left off. So I think my notes here is watch to see if Tamale is back to busting tackles for fun.
Yes.
Because the first game I watched of him last season, I said, oh my God, I'm getting this guy in my team. And he was a weapon until he got injured. And to be honest, right now, he's in my CTW4 spot, and I expect him to go up in value. He could be a keeper that finishes on an average of 70. And that's sort of that's my best case scenario here with him in my CTW4. Definitely one to watch, though, because if he's back to busting tackles for fun, then he's going to be a serious threat in those center wing positions for the year.
And Tamale has a very solid floor as well. He gets through a lot of work, so even if he doesn't get those attacking stats, he's not going to score you a 10. That was probably the worst decision I made last year, was death riding Tamale, because I just wasn't sold. I was worried about Jed Stewart, of all people, coming in, and I fucked that one up. But
my worst last year was trading out guns way too early. Like, I traded Iongi way too early, traded Ian Clark Clark way too early. I traded White way too early. I thought these guys were underperforming. Purdue, I think I held onto him and cashed in a bit. But I'll be looking to make sure I hold some guys for for the first sort of 5 or 6 weeks of the season, to make sure I'm not missing any good runs with these guys. But otherwise, for Raiders, I've got sort of Nicholson, looking for him to return. bit of talk about who's going to get the second edge spot for the Raiders there. So look, last year Nicholson started really strong, even got himself a couple of tries. Again, he's a England player. Didn't make the England side for some reason. It blows my mind. So yeah, look, I think that Nicholson will probably be starting for the Raiders. And again, like if you want to get a cheaper version of Hudson Young, grab Nicholson. Maybe he gets a pay bump, and maybe you can upgrade him later in the season if Huddy drops in value. But yeah, Nicholson's one to watch. See if he can get back to strong form again.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about forwards, I just feel the need to mention the highest averaging player of 2025 in Joe Roddy is named at 13. Could you imagine if he carried that ton in his rolling average from last year and he comes in at bottom dollar? Oh my God, it'd be outrageous. Don't think there's really much possibility of him being relevant, but it's just funny that he was the highest averaging player
I
with
think he
one
is
score.
battling it out for those spots as well. Like he's trying to make it into that pack. The Raiders have a strong pack though, so yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Well, he made it in once, so
I
can
think
definitely
he'll
happen
be
again.
relevant. I think he'll be relevant at some point throughout the year, but probably not to start the season.
Yeah, potentially Origin when Huddy inevitably
Yeah.
goes. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Only other thing here I've got, Owen Paddy named to start always excites me. Last year I picked him in my team off the back of a trial, which is a dumb decision, but I love the bloke, so I don't care. Definitely see a minute increase for him, but with Cheese at 230k, it's probably a safer option. Potentially an option in the future. Beautiful. Cowboys, Panthers. Realistically, just the Cowboys because Ivan hates trials.
Yeah, I got baby Panthers don't really give us much to look at for Supercoach. So
Yeah.
yeah. Look, maybe there's some names on this list that mean something to folks at home in regards to Supercoach. Maybe you're eyeing off enough or something like that. Maybe this gives you a chance to look at them. But for the Panthers, I really can't see much here. For the Cowboys, to me, this looks like their Vegas side.
Yep.
It looks to me that Coach Payton assessed the performance of the players last week and has gone with Clifford in the halves with Dearden and put Purdue in center. I think for Supercoach, that's really good. Like I'm considering Purdue as a pod in my 5/8 position. But yeah, look, Purdue in the centers, he's really strong. He gets more line breaks, he gets more tackle breaks, he has more work. And with the change to the scoring and stuff, he could even pick up extra try assists in the centers. So I from a Supercoach perspective, I love it. As a Cowboys, well, Queensland fan in general, so Cowboys, they're up there for me. I'd like to see him developed into a 6, but I just didn't really see it on the trials. Like he just passed the ball too early. He didn't dig into the line. He did solid, but he definitely didn't light it up. So Clifford, on the other hand, did light it up. I can see why they've gone for him. And honestly, for Supercoach, I think this is all looking better because Drinkwater performs better with Clifford in there instead of Purdue, and Purdue performs better. So it makes two very relevant Supercoach players in Drinkwater and Purdue both look like they're going to be scoring more points for the season. I like to look at this from a Supercoach perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And in my notes, I've just got sanity prevails just from Clifford being in the team. He was so good last week. How could you possibly keep him out? And
Yep.
on the topic of Clifford, this is going to look terrible, but I'm just going to quickly look up his price over here. The cropping is going to be off, but bear with me. Clifford,
508.
508k. It's not the best, but look, Megapod potentially.
Yeah, I'd go there if he had Jewel or something to make it worth it. But yeah, I'm honestly more likely to put Purdue in my 5/8 position with the CT dub deal. And if need be, I can move him around later or something like that. It's just he's probably going to perform really well if he's playing center. So
Yeah, and we all know 5'8's a bit of a wasteland at the moment. So if he is scoring as well as he was at centre last year,
yeah,
outside of Cameron Munster, I can't really think of any options that would rival that.
yeah. The other one I've got for the Cowboys is obviously Lukey starting on the edge. As you said, Nanai out. So yeah, looking for Lukey to maybe get a few more minutes this week and see what he's made of when it comes to endurance. So I'd love to see if he could play 80. But look, we probably won't see that because it's the trials and they've got like unlimited interchanges. But it'd be
Yeah.
good to see him play sort of 40 or so.
So a lot of good news for Supercoach there. However, on my notes here, I've got it's not all good news though. Sonny Luke has been named at 14, strongly indicating a minute share with Reed Marnie. If he was in my team, this would worry me. So big minute watch on Reed Marnie and Sonny Luke here. Reed Marnie's one of the most popular owned dummy halves, and obviously I picked Simpkin because I'm a Manly fan and my team is named after him. But I just didn't really feel that good about Marnie. I feel like he's on a little bit of a downward trajectory. I don't think he's going to keep going down, but I don't think we're going to see him, scoring the consistent 60s that he was getting at the Bulldogs. So definitely watch that space.
Definitely watch it. I'm not sure if the trials are going to give us much indication of what the realistic minute share will look like when they come to NRL games. But yeah, like if Sonny Luke's starting at 14 come Vegas, then yeah, I'd be concerned about Reed Marnie minutes. I think he'll probably still play 50 or 60, but yeah, you really want him playing 80 minutes to get as much value as you can and generate as much cash as you can in that position. If he's not going to be doing that, then maybe the better play is to go for a gun and a pure cheapie like a Brandon Smith or something. So if you've got Marnie in your team right now, you definitely want to pay attention to how many minutes he gets in this game.
Yeah, and if Marnie does end up looking like a bit of a dangerous option, I think it's only like 20 or 30k to flip him up to Simpkin. We don't really have a whole lot of information on what Manly's doing at 9, considering the team list they've named this week. We'll get to it eventually.
Yep.
But next week, we'll probably get a better idea. If we don't see a hooker at 14, then that's probably green lights for Simpkin.
Yeah, and Simpkin's probably flying a little bit under the radar, to be honest. Like, not completely, but yeah, realistically, probably way more people have Marnie in their team. And I think, especially with Sonny Luke there, Simpkin's probably the better option, to be honest.
Yeah, I love it. Manly guy being relevant.
You would. Yeah, you would.
That's about all I got on this one. I haven't mentioned yet, my team name is Simpkin Tins. So even if this happens, if there is a dummy half on the bench at Manly, I'm probably just going to have to keep him anyway because it's my team name. Like, oh, God. What else we got here? Thomas McKaylee on the bench presents another interesting option at second row forward. However, he's burned us before, and with second row forward depth with value players, I don't think he's a great option, but you never know, he could come out and explode. And then I've just got nothing to see other than Jesse McLean being named for the Panthers, but it's literally a second, maybe even third grade team there, so that's kind of speaks to where Jesse McLean's at. So we'll move on.
This one, Cowboys 13 plus. Let's go.
I seem to remember the Baby Panthers actually doing pretty good. Or maybe that was during.
No, they do. They go all right, but they should not.
I mean, yeah, look at the Cowboys team.
Like, yeah, seriously. They need to win this 13 plus. If they don't, there's problems at Cowboys.
Beautiful. Now's a good time to mention as well on this video. Comment your tips for any of these games. Head to head, 13 plus, a line. I don't know if we can do try scorers. You probably don't want to with the amount of interchanges anyway. So anyone you're confident is going to win, stick it down in the comments and you might be adding to the prize pool. Let's move on to the future premiers and the Warriors.
Okay. So how far in the future are you going here, bro? Because it's not happening this year.
Well, maybe when Anthony Large and Joey Walsh are playing first grade together, but...
Oh, you meant literally the rookie halves are the future premiers. Yeah, okay. Maybe. They might be that long before Manly gets there, so we'll see.
Yeah, God, it's rough.
Warriors. We're looking at the backs here, bro. Look at number 4 for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Lecker at center. What is this? This looks fun. I'm actually about this. Like, I don't know what their back five is like, and he's obviously a weapon in the second row. But yeah, like if he wants to play center, imagine him doing 80 minutes on the edge, like as a big, strong center. Like, I don't know what his ball playing is like, but like I'm excited to see this for sure.
Yeah.
And then Tanner Boyd, got to have a look at Tanner Boyd, not for SuperCoach, but just to see how the Warriors are going to go throughout the first sort of 10 rounds of the year while they're waiting for Metcalf to come back. Otherwise, I'm looking for Aaron Clark to go nuts for probably like 30 minutes and then they'll just rest him. But I think he just wants to play footy. That's probably the only reason why they put him on there, because he doesn't need it. And then, yeah, Ford and Capewell, a couple of guys to look out for. And they could be good for draft. Anyone playing draft, if you're looking at some sort of like second string forwards that you're going to need deeper into the draft rounds. Yeah, Jackson Ford, Kurt Capewell, they look good. So it could be good to have a watch of them as well.
Yeah, the only note I've got here is just Halasima named at center. I don't think he's going to play center in round 1. I think this is just some trials weirdness. And again, it's the Warriors' first teams list of the trials. Next week, we'll probably see him back at second row.
Yeah. Agreed, but it's just funny to see. Oh, can he
Yeah.
play center? 'Cause maybe he ends up on that bench spot where they can just fill him in to edge or center, whatever needs be. Or maybe they're just practicing it in case the second rower goes down. They bring on another second rower and they just slide him out one spot to the center. It could work. So yeah, I like it. It's definitely one to watch. On the Manly side, I really don't have much down in the forwards. I think it is Simeone Layafi. I'm not sure how to
Yep.
say it. Sorry.
Yep.
He's the rookie to watch. That's about all I know. Not much really else going on this Manly side.
Yeah. I think Leafy, I should know this, but I don't.
Can you scroll down a little bit there?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, mate.
Apparently, he is an absolute giant. We've
Yeah.
also got Caleb Navale. I feel like he'll probably get a bench spot as well. I think he's like 270-ish K, maybe even a bit more. So again, with the forward cheapies and value players we've got, probably not much room for him. Just from a Manly fan perspective, I'm so fucking excited to see Anthony Large and Joey Walsh line up together. We're probably going to get smashed because this is like a fully B grade team against not a fully A grade Warriors team, but there is a lot of the first graders in there. So
Yeah.
not too keen on the result, but I
Yeah.
will definitely enjoy watching these guys throw the ball around. Also, Clayton Falalo, he came in for us a little bit recently. He was good. Navram Willett is basically a carbon copy of Jason Saab. He's like super, super tall and quick, good finishing. Nothing really super coach relevant though.
Just so you know, Laiafi, I'm
Yes.
sure I'm saying it wrong. He is bottom dollar, man. 201,000. I heard on Bloke in a Bar that they might be actually banking on him to step up and have a gun season and partner up with Paseka in the front row. Like, if he's a starting front rower, that is one to watch. So keep an eye on him and definitely keep an eye on Manly's TLT come week 1 of the NRL, because if he's starting, or even if he's got a bench spot with 30 minutes at bottom dollar, that could be a really good front row forward for.
Yeah, I'm frothing on that
You would.
massively. Yeah.
Get as many Manly players in my team as I can, he says.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I can't even justify spending up at fullback. Like I want
Have you got Turbo?
in, but no.
No, right. You
No.
don't even have Turbo. You're not even a Manly fan.
Bro, I've got Keanu Kinney, obviously, and Tom Chester. I've like fully bombed fullback, which
I'm
we'll cover
looking forward
later
to
with the
seeing-
changes.
Yeah, I want to see your team once we get close to
Yeah,
round
I like
1.
the look of it.
I'm excited to look at the teams again, that's for sure. Otherwise, yeah, have a look at Lecker at center. Not much really going on here for SuperCoach relevance.
Lecker the Wrecker, the poor winger who's probably going to have to tackle him. Who's that going to be? Blake Wilson. Good luck, bro.
He came over from the Bulldogs, actually, so
Yeah.
he's a watch as well. Yeah, Blake Wilson.
Yeah, for sure. Putting some pressure on the outside backs at Manly. Rightio, Tigers and Roosters.
My poor notes. It says nothing relevant here. I mean, what's Macassini's in the centers? I don't know if he's even set to start for the Tigers. Like, I don't know what's going on, but these are basically 2 B grade teams. So yeah, look, I don't really know if there's a lot to talk about SuperCoach wise with the Tigers versus the Roosters here. I don't even know who's going to win this one. Hopefully, surely the Roosters should win it, because
I do have a pretty good point to make about Macassini. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, perfect.
Hamasi Macassini will be looked at closely by SuperCoaches with his potential replacing Skelton, looking for a big game, but we won't know about him until round 2 team lists. I can't recommend locking him into your team and not knowing if he actually gets the spot for an extra week. If he does end up getting it and kills it for the first couple of weeks, we have until round 4 to get him. So definitely no rush to bring him in. It would really hurt to bring him in and then he ends up just being enough for you. So can't recommend that.
Yeah, I'll definitely be avoiding Macassini to start the season.
Yep. And then really just trying to scrape some kind of point for the Roosters here is Rex Bassingthwaite is the front runner to replace Teddy in the coming years. Could be a very juicy option if Teddy was to go down or somehow get picked for Origin. But yeah, don't really see any SuperCoach relevance here, so I think we can gloss over this game. Knights and Doggies. What have we got?
This one has the most notes so far, I think. Look, the Knights look strong. Again, I'm pretty sure they've just fielded their entire Vegas side here. minus KP. And what they've done is they've just put Fletcher Sharp at fullback, and that's what we were saying at the review of last week. Is I think this is their best lineup in the backs. Aside from personally, I'm not a big Marzu fan. I know he's quite relevant for Supercoach, but I also don't think that Holbrook is that big of a Marzu fan, and he didn't really play that well on the weekend either. So yeah, look, I'd be looking to once the KP's back, put him in number one, move Fletcher Sharp onto the wing, let him roam around. I think this side is looking really strong, and up against the Bulldogs here, who backline looking good minus their wingers. So both wingers I've got here are out with minor injuries, but should be starting in Vegas. That's Kiraz, and to me that puts me off. From memory, they also have a pretty early bye as well. So
Round two.
if you've got Kiraz, if you've got Kiraz in your team, he's not going to change in price until week 4 because they have that early buy. So he's another one that you can just wait and watch and see. And if you need to make moves, you have an extra week before you'll have to make moves on that. So you won't need to be rushing him in week 3 or anything. So I'd personally be fading Kiraz to start the season. Well, I mean, I am, but that's just my tip, is to fade Kiraz to start the season. Yeah, both wingers out with minor injuries. It's a little bit strange. See where we go here, but look, the Knights look strong. That's for sure. And then down in the forwards, I had, if you note, we can't see that, by the way, Jake. You need to scroll down just a little bit.
I need another
Thomas
screen.
Cant. That's all right, right? Thomas Cant has got that number 12 spot, and Jermaine McEwen is number 15. So again, this is kind of what I was saying at the start of the video. If Cant, with that goal kicking, might have been the point of difference that gets him into the side. But look, he played really strong. He was there last year. He played really good as well. So look, note Cant in the side over McEwen. If he's kicking goals, then at 400,000 for a starting second rower that kicks goals, Thomas Cant is being slept on, and I'm trading him into my team as soon as this video is finished.
I rate it. And as we said when we were first recording, how often do you get a very cheap second rower that's a goal kicker? It's just ridiculous.
Bro, I'm pretty sure he put up a bomb at one point because it was like, oh crap, it's 5th tackle. Our halves didn't realize that I've got the ball randomly. I'll just bomb it. And it nearly turned into like an attacking opportunity. Like it was,
wow.
Yeah, it was actually a decent kick. So yeah, look, Thomas Cant, he's a player.
So I know fantasy kick meters are a big part of the game. So maybe Thomas Cant's a sneaky little pod for you there. A little point.
He's probably not going to be kicking very often in the real game, like in real time.
But how exciting would it be? Like,
it's huge. Yeah, it would be good. It would be good if you get a random try assist off a bomb from Thomas Cant in the middle of the season. Otherwise, I got doggies. Galvin at 7. Everyone hates it, but it's got a whole season training at the doggies. We'll see how he goes. It's a good chance to have a look at Galvin if you're thinking about sneaking Galvin into your team as a pod in the 7 spot. This is a good chance to have a look. But the one that I have got my eyes on in the Bulldog side, and I actually thought about getting this guy in Classic and Draft, is Satili Tupanua. I'm not sure if you remember last year, he missed a bunch of games through suspension. So that's his problem. He tries too hard to injure people. Like the reason why the Broncos won against the Bulldogs earlier in the year, because the Broncos weren't on fire yet, was because Tupanua came out and just gave out too many penalties.
Right?
But then in the back end of the season, yeah, bro, he's got the proper dog. And when the back end of the season, when he came back from injury, I think he did a hammy or something, he ran harder than anybody I've ever seen run in the rugby league scene, man. He just ran so fast, was absolutely flat out trying to just bust through the defensive line. So, look, he is one to watch. He's a weapon. Definitely got to check out Satili Tupanua. And if he earns himself a spot a permanent spot on that bench, he's going to be a real high impact player that's going to look to come in, play 30 minutes, bust tackles, maybe get a try or a line break or something. So he's one that I've got a bit of a close eye on for draft and even maybe for Classic.
For the Knights, a weird little one here. Tyson Gamble on the bench. Does that suggest that he'll be subbed on for Sandon, and then does Sandon either get benched or go to 9? I don't know. I think I might be overthinking this, but just with Sandon's performance last week, I think that kind of loses a bit of confidence in him being permanently in the halves. He has played 9 before. Do they do that and then move Crossland on? I don't know. I've too many questions about him, and I've removed him out of my team, as I said earlier. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens there.
Not sure, but my prediction for that rotation, really quick, is that once Crossland needs a break, they bring Gamble on into 6 and move Sandon into the 9 position. That's
Okay.
sort of, or maybe something like that. Like, I honestly have no idea what they're going to do, but yeah, like I think they want Sandon Smith to play halfback for the whole game, realistically.
Mm.
So,
And
which
if
I think
he,
he's just there. If their 9 needs a rest, maybe they can put him
yeah,
in and shuffle some people around. But yeah, I'm not really too sure what they're going to do with that.
and if he does go to 9 with the stats changes, he'll get a few more points for tackles. So if he was to lose a couple of points, making that move to 9 mid game might get alleviated by the difference in those tackles. But we will cover those differences after we've gone through all the games. Lot going on today, so appreciate it if you're watching the whole thing. That's a tough carry.
Just really quick on Tupanua, last 3 games of the season, he played 33, 44, and 35 minutes for a PPM of 1.3, 1.4, and 1.1 points per minute. This guy scores really well when he's on the field. He's had those 30-minute impact games, scored 43, 63, and 37 in like 30-minute games. So yeah, Tupanua, he's one to watch for sure.
Here, the bench looks good for Bailey Hayward's 80-minute stocks. I could be wrong, but I don't think any of those guys have played 9. The only one I'm not sure about is Kurt Mann. Has he ever played hooker? I don't think so.
Well, like I think he could, but I don't think that's the plan from looking at that. I
Yeah,
think he normally comes in at 13 or something. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, cool. So maybe if you have a bit of money and Reed Marnie's a problem for you, you can go up to Simpkin. If you need to free up some money, you could go down to Bailey Hayward. So definitely
yeah.
options in hooker.
I personally am fading Hayward as a cheapie in the hooker position just because I don't think he's going to get any attacking stats or
Yeah,
really much at all other than passing and tackling.
yeah,
So if he's doing that for 80 minutes, then sure, he'll gain some value. But yeah, if he's only doing that for sort of 40 to 60 or something and getting a rest, I'm not too keen on it. But I can see why people are doing it, especially
yeah,
if you don't know what's going on with Cheese. But personally, I think Cheese looks like he's gonna be the best cheapie in the
yeah,
9 spot.
yeah. Cheese is the one. Speaking of cheese, dragons versus rabbits.
Let's go. Very nice little segue, mate.
Beautiful.
So
So
yeah, looks like Sedu 2 won that wing spot
yep,
from the trials last week. No David Farley in here, so he's in the reserves. First look at Atkinson at 7. So I'm excited about this. I actually think this kid's a really good footballer, and he's been stuck behind Nico Hines. So he's going to come out with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and he's also got a couple of years of being Nico's apprentice, which is going to really help him when it comes to playing 7. So yeah, look, I'm looking forward to having Atkinson, and he's also my cheapie in number 7 over Sanders at the moment. So Sanders didn't pass the eye test for me in those couple of games that he played last year with the Raiders. Sure, with the whole preseason there, see how he goes, but Atkinson's the one for me. The other thing that I've got to note here on the Dragon side is Little is actually out with an injury at the moment. So I'm not sure how long it is for, but this could mean Damien Cook plays 80 minutes for the first few weeks of the season.
yeah, wow,
And they were both viable options. Damien Cook and Jacob Little, they were both viable options in the 9 last year, and they were sharing the load. If one of them is doing everything, he could all of a sudden become like the highest scoring 9. But I'm just not sure it's sustainable for the whole season. So look, that's one to watch. If you've been thinking about Cook, with Little out, I'd say that he's a really good pod play at that 9 position.
mm,
This is just a good chance to have a look at him. And then we're just going to make sure Couchman, Stewart get through the game looking strong.
absolutely. And then we've got Ryan Couchman on the bench as well. Good for his
Mm.
stocks. He's near enough bottom dollar, quite like that. But like we said before, there's a lot of cheapy options at the Dragon, so we'll have to be very selective with those. What else have we got here? I think you pretty much covered everything. Luch. Luch has made it
Scroll
in.
down. Oh yeah, Luciani Leilua. He looks
Yeah.
great. So yeah, he's one to watch. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Insight boys are keen on him as well. I think next time we do this, I'm definitely going to have to just resize my window and not the thing in OBS because I have no idea what you guys can see right now. Because I
It's
got my
fine, right? We
notes
can see
covering
the forwards.
everything.
We're good. We can
Yeah,
see it.
cool.
We got the forwards. On the Rabbitoh side, I've literally got not much happening in the bunnies. Like I don't really know what we're looking at here. We're not going to learn anything super coach relevant, except for maybe Humphreys at 14. Is a strange one. I know he has played a lot of 9, so I'm not sure if they're wondering if maybe he's going to sort of more transition towards playing the backup 9 or something like that, or maybe even the starting 9. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but Humphreys at 14 is a bit strange. Maybe they're just going to bring him on for Ashton Ward or Jonah Glover after 20 minutes just to put some Ks in his legs or something. Like, we can't really be too sure, or we can't take it too seriously. It's just a trial. But that's really the only thing I had to note here is yeah, what's Humphreys doing with the 14 on his back? And what does he do with that? Does he come in and play 9, or does he come in and play 7? Because I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be the starting 7 once he gets back from suspension.
Yes. I mean, you've pulled a whole lot more than me out of that one. I've literally just got here nothing to mention for the Bunnies, but yeah, I missed that. Jamie Humphreys he'll be making a return to the team somewhere for sure. And yeah, that's it. I think we just move on from that game.
Cool.
We have got Sharks and Eels. It'll be good to get a look at Liam Eisen putting pressure on Will Kennedy. Stone Street gets a run. I don't really think there's too much else SuperCoach relevant, at least for the Sharks here.
Literally all I had was sneak peek at Ison.
Yeah.
I got to see how he goes. Because if something happens to Kennedy, like if he gets injured or something like that, then Liam Ison's going to be the cheapie of the year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he comes out and, I don't know, puts on 3 try assists and a hat trick for himself or something, then yeah, sure, lots of pressure on Kennedy, but I can't see him putting pressure on Kennedy unless he's seriously blowing everyone off the park. So it's a good chance to have a look. Have you got anything for the Eels? I got one note here, which I think is pretty important.
Go for it. I'll see if it's the same.
I'm not sure if Hopgood's going to get the start at the Eels.
Yeah, right.
So if we go down and have a look at the forwards a little bit, see how he's there. Like, a lot of their top tier forwards are actually just not in this list, which suggests to me that the top guys have already been selected and they've been left off this list for a reason, to keep them fresh. And out of these guys, they're sort of fighting it out to see who gets the bench spots. So I was pretty keen on Hopgood for like the whole preseason leading up to sort of about 2 or 3 days ago, when I heard some on a different podcast somewhere. I can't remember exactly. Sorry, otherwise I would shout you out. But I heard some stuff about how, not too sure, maybe it was Tim Williams on SC Playbook, not too sure why everyone's so hyped up on Hopgood. There's a lot of good forwards going around there. You don't bring Jack DeBell into the club to have him play off the bench and stuff like that. Like, not sure what's going to happen. And now we get this lineup, and you know, he's here starting, looking like he's trying to prove himself still, while a bunch of the other forwards don't have to play. So I'm just not so sure on Hopgood anymore. So I'm fading.
Yep. I think if you wanted to go around that price, you probably want to fork out that little bit more and get Toby Couchman. I think he's about 60k more, so it's not a small amount of money, but if you can make it work, I think that's a good upgrade. The only thing I was able to pull out of this game was Riley Smith and Talon De Silva looked to be minute sharing, as we expected. I think some people were looking at taking Talon De Silva as a bit of a flyer. I don't think it's a good idea with all the other hookers we now have available to us. So
if he tries to do anything, Mitch Moses is just going to spray him. So
yeah,
he's probably not going to get back his stats, right? To be fair though, he is a weapon. That kid's really good. I like to see he can get out of dummy half and kick and everything. Like, he's a good player. It's Mitch Moses' team, and the Riley Smith and Talon Silva are 2 very different players. So I think it's a minute share situation, like you said, but I'd be looking to bring Talon De Silva on, around about just before half time, maybe catch some fatigue in the middle, maybe go for a scoot or something like that. And then I'd be getting him back off again.
Yeah.
And putting Riley
high
Smith
risk,
back
high
out
reward.
there. Yeah, you just use Talon De Silva to try and break the game open at critical points, I think. So
yeah,
I wouldn't go there for SuperCoach. But look, I don't really have much for this one other than a sneak peek at Ison, and I'm not sure if Hopgood is going to get the start at the Eels, so I'm going to fade him.
Yeah, fair. And there's definitely some other options. So that's all the trials games. We'll quickly go over the changes to SuperCoach that everyone's been shitting their pants over. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. There is a few main key points to go over. I'll just pull up a little graphic if I can find one. So if you haven't heard already, you probably have. SuperCoach is going to Fox League stats rather than their own SuperCoach.
From Fox League to NRL stats. Yeah.
I'll just redo that.
Get it right, bro. You haven't heard yet. I'm going to tell you the wrong thing.
If you haven't heard yet, Jake's a dickhead. if you haven't heard yet, the new stats provider is NRL stats from. I fucked it up twice. NRL stats from Fox League stats. I'm rattled now. I've cooked it. So the main takeaways from this is that fullbacks and halves are going to get a little bit of a nerf. So the try assist, for instance, is now just the last touch from whoever passes to the winger. So say those sweeping plays from the fullback where they kind of do all the work to create the try. If a center just kind of catches the ball, passes it, they will get the try assist now. So it's a bit more black and white, which I think is good, but
Yep.
your playmakers are going to take a bit of a hit from it. But on the other side of the coin, your centers are going to do really good. So, for instance, Latrell Mitchell with his like little tap-ons, those are now going to be try assists. So this is why I have taken Farlongo out of my team, and I'm now running Keanu Keeney and Tom Chester, who hopefully gets a start. So I've got about 600k in my fullback. I've loaded up on the centers. I've loaded up on the forwards. And I don't really recommend going nuclear like I have. My main logic is that that's kind of how I started at the beginning of the year, was like stack the pack and kind of cheap out everywhere else. So I've just kind of returned to that.
My notes on the new SuperCoach scoring systems are pretty simple. A bit of a buff to big tacklers, so they will count the third man in, a little bit more friendly with that sort of thing, and a little bit more lenient with the missed tackles as well. So if you sort of get bumped off, but then you re-engage in the tackle, that's not going to count as a miss. So your big tacklers, particularly your small bodies and stuff as well, they're going to get more stats on the tackle side of things. And then, your try assist is going to go to the last pass. So a little bit of a nerf on the stats for your halves and your sweeping fullbacks and such, but a little bit of a buff on your center wingers as well, the ones that pass it anyway. So, I mean, there's heaps of great information on this stuff out there already. There's all kinds of tables. If you want really good detailed explanation, you check out the video by Insight Fantasy and Aman Talk Supercoach. They did a really good breakdown of it. They've also got heaps of cool graphics and shows you what players' averages would have looked like if we use the NRL stats for last year. I think Herbie Farnworth becomes the highest scoring player of the season over Teddy if you use the NRL stats. So that's just a slight example of what can happen. So yeah, look, I'll be targeting center wing a little bit and focusing on big tacklers and stuff like that. But realistically, like you said, Jake, like it's pretty small numbers, and only the real like super coach fanatics are going to be breaking down the numbers and knowing what to do with this information. If you want to learn more, there's plenty of good info out there. Definitely go check it out. But pretty simple, bit of a nerf to the halves and fullbacks, and a bit of a buff to your centers and forwards.
Beautiful. And I just want to reiterate, shout out to Aman and Insight. I mean, you guys probably know who they are if you're watching me, but they are absolutely goated. Anything numbers, Aman is the guy. He was the first SuperCoach content creator that I started watching. He's a massive reason why I started doing it myself. So shout out to you, Aman, and your microwave. Real ones will understand that. I think we're good now, aren't we?
Awesome. Join the group league. Bring back up that group league code, bro.
This thing that I spent ages.
If you're not in the group league, get in the group league. We got a big prize pool there, 760 already. It's going to go up probably by at least $10 a week. We're probably going to be at $1,000 by the end. Prizes for first, second, and third. And don't forget, folks, Flat Out Footy, a rugby league board game coming out later this year. You can check out the website now, flatoutfooty.com. And yeah, put your email in. We'll let you know when the game is coming out later in the year. So we're hyped for that too. But yeah, join the group league, jump on Flat Out Footy, and if you have more than one team, delete it.
Yes. Oh my God. If you have one, don't make me go nuclear and get rid of half of the league. I don't want to do that. Just be good boys. And yeah, put your tips in the comments as well.
Yeah, tips in the comments, and anybody who is actually named Alan that has a team, can you comment your SuperCoach team so that we don't delete you, because all the others are going to get deleted. Yeah,
there's like 20 Allens, and I don't think it's the most common name unless there's like a big community of Allens out there.
And your Z Allen, your Zallen did not fool us, by the way. So yeah.
So yeah, if you feel like you've been wronged, if I do go nuclear, just get in contact with me and we'll sort it out. Beautiful. I think we're all good. We'll see next week for the results of these trial games. Have a good one.
Let's go.